All right, welcome back to the Project Management Nation. Today's video is all about what to do to build your career. This one specifically, though, is around the decision, should I go after an MBA? So if you're worried about your job, worried about recession, you want to move up in your job, or you're just thinking about moving even away from project and program management, is getting an MBA the right move for you? Find out all about it in this video. All right, so why would a project manager want to get an MBA, and should they? So I got an MBA midway through my career. For me, it was a good move. For you, let's find out. We're going to talk about all these topics today. But an MBA is recognized worldwide as a great platform for any kind of business role. Project management is no exception. If you're a project manager and you want to get ahead, an MBA may be a good way for you to do it. But there are also times when you should not do that. In my book, we talk all about the program and some of the learnings from the MBA program. The last chapter, chapter 10, is all about should I get an MBA? I'm going to take excerpts from that and we're going to talk about that. I encourage you to buy that book and give it a read because it will help you to navigate your decision. So the first question about an MBA is, when should you do it? So maybe that seems dumb because you might want to do it right now, but you have to take a look at where you are in your career. If you're early career, you might get a lot of mileage out of that MBA. It might serve you throughout your career to be able to refer back, hey, I got my MBA and I know this, and just having the general foundational knowledge that that MBA provides will help you as you move throughout your career. However, if you are later in your career, if you're in your late 40s, approaching 50, may not be the time for an MBA. A lot of your career is already passed. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying you should think extra hard about it. Now, when do you want to do it? Are you going to drop out of your career to do a full-time MBA program? That's a really big commitment. There's a big expense with that because not only are you having to pay the costs for the school, but you have to pay opportunity costs. The time you're not in your career, the money that you would have made, all of those costs go into the cost of what it takes to do an MBA. You need to be very careful and make sure that you're doing that analysis. There are a lot of other options. There are online MBA programs. Those can work. You can do them offline at your leisure. There are also evening and weekend programs out there from a lot of schools. So there are a lot of options. When I did it, I chose an evening and weekend program. I had to go into the classroom 2 to 3 times per week. And it was great because I got to know a lot of the people who are around me. So let's talk about the tier of school that you should consider. So do you need to go to Harvard to get your MBA? Well, if you can get into Harvard, maybe you want to consider that, but not everybody needs to get to that top tier type of school. What about online schools, the ones that are nothing but doing it from your computer screen? That's kind of the spectrum from a top 3, top 10 type school all the way down to sitting in front of your laptop and doing all your education that way. But there are a lot of options in between. Top tier schools are great if you really want to move forward in your career as in business, whether it's marketing, whether it's finance, whether it's operations or anything like that. That type of a program is great to really accelerate your profession. However, for a project manager, probably overkill because you don't see a lot of Harvard MBA project managers out there. What you're looking for is something probably in the middle, which is a state school or a school that is nearby you, or a well thought of online program. That's going to give you, I think, that's the sweet spot. That's going to give you the biggest bang for the buck. You don't want to do like a low-level MBA program because honestly, as a hiring manager, when I was doing it, you look at that and you think, oh, that's nice, they put in the effort, but did they really get the quality of education you're looking for? So some type of a school that has maybe a hybrid program where they actually have an MBA program on site, but then they've chosen to do a hybrid or an online version of that. That seems to be, I think, where you'll get your best value from that program. So what does an MBA do? Why would you even want to go after that? Well, number one, it's going to open doors for you. You're going to have a whole network of alumni and also the people that who are going to be in your classes that can open doors for you. And it's a great thing. Also, just having an MBA, if you're working in a project or program that requires knowledge of the business, that can help to open the door. It looks good on your resume. I can tell you that having an MBA from the Haas School of Business at UC Berkeley has opened a lot of doors. It gets attention. And so that's been a good thing. Even if I didn't land the interview well or didn't get the role, it got me into the door, and that is always the first step. The big benefit, like I mentioned, that you also get is the alumni network that comes out of it. You may have people who were either in your classes or came before or even after you that go out and they start companies and they do really big things, and they like to hire from their own network because they know the quality of the education that goes on. It also makes it easier when you're on LinkedIn or somehow trying to reach out to that person. Say, hey, I was I was at the same school, we got the same degree. Do you have a few minutes to talk about what you're doing with your company, whatever that conversation may look like. It's also a really great thing when you are in the middle of your program to open doors to your alumni by saying, hey, I'm currently doing the program. I see you have this role in whatever company they're in, and I would love to know more about that because that's what I'd like to do in my career. When you are a student and you approach someone who's in a high-level position, it's a lot less threatening to them than just saying, hey, can I talk to you? I really would like to work for you. Hiring managers don't really love that kind of a conversation. It's stressful, but if you're a student, it makes it a lot easier to open those doors. So work your alumni network. The better the program, the stronger the alumni network. So that's something to consider when you're choosing. Obviously, an MBA stands for Masters of Business Administration, and these programs go deeply into a lot of different subjects that are core to the running of business, and you will learn a lot of technical knowledge. Some of the technical knowledge you're going to carry with you. Some of it is just kind of good to know, and you don't really have to memorize the formulas and things like that. So MBA programs will help you to understand the health of a business, like of a publicly traded company. You will be able to stop and take a look at that company, read through its annual report or quarterly report, and be able to tell how healthy that company is from that report. And before you hire into a company, it's always good to know the footing that they're on. You'll learn technical knowledge around economics, around marketing, around all of these things that are good to know. And when you're a project manager and you're sitting across the table from a key stakeholder who is in one of those fields, you having knowledge of what's going on inside their head in those terms is going to be really valuable to you. The other thing that is another benefit of getting your MBA is you may want to transition careers. Now, if you are in a career outside of project management and you want to transition into project management, don't have to have the MBA. You need to get a little bit of experience, maybe a certification, and just really prove yourself out that you can do the job. But if you're in project management and you want to go deeper into the business, into sales, into marketing, into finance, an MBA can open that window for you to transition your career into another area. Make sure that your area of focus in that MBA is in that area that you want to transition into, and you can start to have some good conversations with those who are in the field about that transition, and at or near the end of your MBA, go ahead and transition your career. You probably have about a year after your MBA to do that. If you get your MBA, wait 5 years and then say you want to transition, that doesn't make as much sense. That's not a clean, cohesive story to talk to hiring managers about. But if you're in the middle of that, that makes a lot of sense. So one of the unspoken benefits of getting an MBA is the confidence that it can provide you. So when you, again, are sitting across the table from a stakeholder who is in a field that you actually know about, that you can have a conversation with, that you can share ideas, that builds confidence. If you working with a stakeholder, you have no idea what their day-to-day looks like. You have no idea what their the technical knowledge that they have around their profession is, it's going to be a lot harder to be confident, because they may use words, they may use things that you just don't understand, and that's a tough way to think. Another benefit of getting your MBA is that it can really improve the way you think. I remember sitting in an operations MBA class, and they made us sit down and break down the process of making cookies. So nothing to do with business at all, nothing to do with project management, but of making cookies, and break it down into its smallest components, and then talk about reassembling those in a way that is more efficient. That blew my mind. I'd never done that before. And that was really helped me to see that, oh, I can really improve and cut out a lot of waste in the day-to-day things that I do. So that changed the way I thought. There are dozens of other ways that it's going to change the way you think and improve the way you think. Another benefit that you're probably looking for out of getting an MBA is career advancement. So we all want to move up in our careers. Getting an MBA can make a lot of sense to help you get there. But don't make the mistake that I made. So the mistake I made was getting into a top 10 MBA program, and my boss was supportive, but there was no arrangement about, hey, when you graduate, we're going to move you into this career or move you up in the career ladder. And so guess what happened when I graduated? I got exactly what I had negotiated. And you can't really negotiate that for sure you're going to get something, but if you put your manager on notice, hey, when I graduate, I'm doing this because I really want to move up, and I would really like to have this position. When the time comes, they're going to be a lot more supportive of that, and if at all possible, they will do what they can to make that work for them. So career advancement is an important thing. Last thing I want to touch on around getting your MBA and the benefits of getting your MBA is entrepreneurship. So a lot of these MBA programs have an entrepreneurship track. And entrepreneurship can take a lot of forms. And what that means is running your own business. So maybe you want to run your own giant company. So that's great. That's outside the scope of project management, but that's something that an MBA can do for you. But if you want to build a project management practice, if you want to become a project management consultant, it will give you the skills that you need so that you can stand independently, not working for another company, but still working that project management craft. And so it's a fantastic way to get your legs to be able to stand strong on your own without having to be part of another company. All right, so the bottom line for getting in, around the decision for getting your MBA is, it depends. It might work for you depending on what you want to do, but I highly recommend that you grab a copy of my book, go into the very last chapter of it. I go into more depth than what I've done in this video. It's hard to justify all of the effort that I put into the chapter on this in just a 10-minute YouTube video. But MBAs may serve you very well, and if you're thinking about it, make sure that you're taking a look at all the benefits as well as the costs, and make sure that decision is right for you. Thank you for joining us today. All right, I hope that you enjoyed the content of that video and that it was useful for you. Please like and subscribe. Also, please put in the comments any comments you have, any thoughts, expand the ideas that I presented. Also, if you've got ideas for other videos, please let me know. Right now, I'm going to take a second to do a shameless plug. A couple of years ago, I wrote a book. I was fortunate enough to have it picked up by a publisher. It's called the MBA Distilled for Project and Program Professionals. And it talks about the experience that I had getting my MBA while being a project and program manager. It covers all of the core MBA courses from corporate strategy to finance, accounting, economics, and it takes the learnings from the MBA program and applies it to our profession. I really enjoyed writing the book. I think there's a lot of great skills that we can apply to our profession in it. My favorite chapter, though, is the very last chapter. And if you are a project or program professional and you're thinking about getting your MBA, you're going to want to read that chapter. It will help you to decide. I believe in the power of the MBA and that it can be a real career booster, but not for everybody. And I talk through all of my logic as to why. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video.